Hi everyone. So welcome to the live stream today as we continue with our discussion towards the ICA April 2022 examination, and we are in the fifth week in our discussion, and it's already getting excited, and we are getting closer to the exams, and we have about 7 more weeks to go as we continue with our discussion towards the examination. And today we want to look at one of the key topics that are going to be basic one of the key topics that are going to be basic when it comes to dealing with the IC examination. If you're writing management accounting, corporate reporting, advanced taxation, advanced audit and assurance, financial reporting, then ethics is going to be very critical, very basic, because whether I like it or not, there is a question in the exam hall waiting for you on ethical issues for professional accountants. Only that there is a thin line between how we must understand ethics when it comes to dealing with audits, and then dealing with corporate reporting, dealing with financial reporting, dealing with management accounting. There is just a thin line that we need to understand. Nonetheless, it is a topic that is going to be critical, that is going to be basic, that we must know about when it comes to dealing with this topic. So we want to look at the ethical issues for professional accountants, look at the fundamental code of ethics that professional accountants must adhere to, how professional accountants must behave at the end of the day. Then also we will spend some time to look at the threats to these code of ethics, and most importantly, how we can eliminate, mitigate some of these threats in order to act professionally as professional accountants. Then, most importantly, I'm also going to be sharing my thought with you on the way the examiner is going to be setting the questions on ethics so that you can position yourself strategically to be able to pass the examination when it comes to dealing with ethical issues for professional accountants. Now, I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome to the live stream. Give us a thumbs up on the video. It helps us a lot to reach a lot of students so we can together assist a lot of students to prepare well for the examination. So I'm going to share my screen in a moment, and then we get excited about it. So we're looking at ethical issues for professional accountants. Ethical issues for professional accountants. Now, remember that you can watch or listen to our podcast on various podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Nhyira Premium and you can get an audio session of this podcast. Now, in case you are listening to the audio version of this, remember to subscribe, to follow on whatever platform that you are on. If it is subscribing, subscribe. It is following, follow. But most importantly, leave us a review as well so that we can grow the podcast community also and reach many students across the continent of the world and assist a lot of students. Okay, so let's go straight up, into my discussion for the day. Let me go in straight up into what we call ethical issues for professional accountants. And I want to have a bigger canvas so that I can really write very well. So, ethical issues for professional accountants. Ethical issues for professional accountants. I see some of you joining on Facebook as well. We are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are also live on LinkedIn. Give us a thumbs up on the video, share the video, let us reach many students as possible on the live stream. If there are any questions you have, put it in the comment section for me, put it in the chat. I want to hear from you. Whatever questions you have, let me know, and let me see how I can answer those questions for you as we prepare for the examination in that particular case. Okay, so let's get excited about it and then let's go into the discussion. Ethics. Now, one thing you must understand is that when it comes to dealing with the human being, professional accountants, people's behavior must be regulated, must be controlled. If not, people will do things anyway, anyhow, and they may go unpunished. So, in every community, in every country, there are two ways generally that people's behavior can be controlled at the end of the day. It could be through laws and regulations, could be through laws and regulations, or sometimes it could be through what we call ethics. Now, through laws and regulations, it has to do with where we are looking at the fact that we are regulating people's behavior to act in accordance with the law or to adhere with the laws of the land. Now, when you breach the law, what is going to be happening is that you're likely to going to be paying some fees, some fines. You're likely to pay some fines or some penalties, or maybe sometimes it could lead to imprisonment at the end of the day if you don't act in accordance with the law. Recently in Ghana, in this part of the world, before the 31st December, one of the norms of this country was that we will hear a lot of prophecies coming in at the end of the day. So one of the things that the police did this 31st December was to issue out a directive and say, hey, if you're a prophet and you're going to prophesy about anything on Ghana, make sure that your prophecy does not cause any fear and panic in the community, in the country, in that case. So because of that, people and prophets and all that were not able to really exhibit the way the traditional 31st December was. And then we found a lot of other people also finding creative ways to still get their messages across. Now, what is that? The directives from the Ghana Police Service, the laws supporting them, gives them that empowerment so that they can regulate the behavior of people. The same thing happens to professional accountants. As professional accountants, there are a way that we need to behave. There are guidelines that we need to behave in that particular case. However, when it comes to the accountancy profession, as a business leader, as a chartered accountant, or as a student chartered accountant, a student member of the ACCA or the ICAG, there are ethics. Ethics has to do with the morality of what is wrong and what is right. Ethics has to do with the morality of what is wrong and what is right. In other words, ethics has to do with knowing the difference between what is wrong, what is right, and what is wrong, what is good, and what is evil or bad. So ethics has to do with the morality of what a group of people have accepted to be right or to be wrong in within a certain community or for a certain group of people. Now, one thing that you have to know is that our concern here is not about the business law aspect, it's not about the regulations aspect. Our focus here is about the ethical aspect, the morality aspect, how to distinguish between what is good and what is bad. Now, one thing you must understand is that ethics are not jurisdictional, okay? Whilst the laws and regulations are jurisdictional, they are backed by laws, the ethics are not jurisdictional, they are just international conventions that have been approved or international principles that must be adhered to at the end of the day. Nonetheless, many of these international principles are based or backed or can be traced back into the laws of every country. And hence, if you don't adhere to these ethical principles, you may knowingly or not unknowingly be breaching a law which you could be sued for, which you could be imprisoned for, or which you could be fined for at the end of the day. But the sweet spot of all these is that the International Federation of Accountants is the international body responsible for really regulating the various accountancy body and issuing guidelines on the various accountancy bodies. And so in the International Federation of Accountants, there is another sub-regulatory body referred to as the ISBA, that is the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants. Now, the role of the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants is simply to issue ethical codes, to issue code of ethics for professional accountants, as well as give interpretation to various ethical codes of conduct at the end of the day. So what happens is that the ICAG, that is the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, is a member of IFAC. The ACCA is a member of IFAC. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria is a member of IFAC. So what happens is that these bodies have actually adopted the code of ethics of the IFAC and personalize them as their code of ethics. So when we say the ACCA Code of Ethics, it is the same as the ISBA Ethics, which is personalized by ACCA. When we say the ICAG Code of Ethics, it's the same as the IFAC Code of Ethics, but it is personalized and contextualized by the ICAG. When we say the ICAN, the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nigeria's Code of Ethics, is the same as the IFAC Code of Ethics, but a bit personalized for the jurisdiction at the end of the day. So that is what we want to go into today, the Code of Ethics by IFAC that professional accountants must adhere to in order for them to really behave in a manner that will be seen to be right, that will be seen to be good, and in order not to bring disrepute to the accountancy profession, in order not to bring disrepute to the accountancy profession. So, what are these code of ethics generally? When we say these code of ethics, what exactly are we talking about? So, let's look at them real quick. There are 5 of these code of ethics that we must know about. Please note, I say this always. It is not about just knowing the code of ethics, but it's about how to pick them up in a case study, because almost always questions on ethics is going to be a scenario based, and you should be able to identify that this thing is about this code of ethics, this thing about that code of ethics, this thing about this threat, this thing is about that threat. So stay with me carefully, because I'm going to be giving you examples, illustrations as I explain these whole things, so that you don't just understand the code of ethics from word to word, memorize them, but you will be able to really contextualize and pick them up in a question if the examiner presents you with the question. So that is something you want to really pay attention to very, very well. Now, I see some of you guys joining us on YouTube. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video when you join. It helps us a lot to reach other students. And also remember to comment in the comment section for those of you on Facebook, or in the chat box for those of you who are on YouTube. Any questions you have for me, something you would want me to share my thought on, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. I want to hear from you, and let's talk on that as well. Eric Ahiadeki, Humphrey Ashikwe, and then Kennedy Onyango. Thank you for the thumbs up on Facebook, and then Labi Benjamin with a heart on Facebook. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, what are these code of ethics? Let's go into it. So, number 1 is integrity. Integrity. So, what is integrity? What is integrity? Integrity simply means that the professional accountant, in carrying out of his or her professional duties, must perform these straightforward, or must be straightforward and honest in all professional dealings. So it is simply an attitude of being straightforward and honest in all professional dealings. What does that mean? It means probity. It means being straightforward. Say it the way it is supposed to be said. Record it the way it is supposed to be recorded. Do not mislead people. So integrity has to do with avoiding misleading from the perspective of the accountant users of financial statements. Okay, so it is to avoid misleading users of financial statements. You need to be honest. You need to be straightforward. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? Because as a professional accountant, you're going to prepare financial statement. As an auditor, you're going to be issuing an auditor's report. The auditor's report you issue must be honest, must be straightforward, must not mislead the users of the financial statement. So if there are material misstatements in the financial statement, and you issue an unqualified auditor's opinion and say, oh, the financial statement taken as a whole represent the true and fair view of the entity, when in actual sense the financial statement taken as a whole does not represent the true and fair view of the entity, then you are misleading users. Then you are not being honest. Then you are not being straightforward. That is the first thing. That is the first thing. So you want to make sure that, or that is the first qualitative code of ethics that a professional accountant must adhere to. that in all professional dealings, in all professional transactions, in all professional behavior, the professional accountant must be straightforward and must be honest. That is to avoid misleading users of the financial statements. But the question you then ask yourself is, okay, who should we be honest to? Who should we be straightforward with? Broadly, the professional accountant is under obligation, ethical obligation, and legal obligation to be honest to the client entity that engaged us. To be honest with the client entity. Then, when we say to be honest with the client entity, for instance, the users of the financial statement or the shareholders of the financial statements, then to the regulatory authorities. So let me give you an example. Let's say that the company is going for a loan. Okay. Then for the loan to be approved, you have to send financial statements. Then your CEO comes to you and say, hey, Kofi Babone, you are supposed to recognize a certain item in the financial statement. Maybe there is a lease. Okay. And leases must be accounted for in accordance with IFRS 16. Leases. Okay. IFRS 16 leases. And according to IFRS 16 leases, we need to recognize a right of use of asset and recognize a lease liability. The lease liability recognized must be splitted into current liability and non-current liability. And that is what the that is what the standard says. But your CEO comes and tells you that, hey, the lease should be treated as rentals. For that reason, recognize only current liability. Do not recognize non-current liability. Why is that? Because when you recognize the non-current liabilities, the gearing position of the company is going to go up. So to avoid the gearing position of the company to go up, going up, and not to make the company looks more risky, so that we can get the loan successfully, your CEO comes and tells you that make sure that you account for this thing as only current liability. Now, if you should follow suit and you do it, what are you doing? You are misleading users of the financial statement. The bank that is going to be relying on that financial statement to give the loan to your company, you are misleading them. If tax authorities come and they are checking your books of accounts, you are also misleading them. That is what we mean by integrity. And we're going to come to the thread in a moment, and I'm going to knit the two up together, and you're going to see how they add together. But that is the first thing, integrity. In all professional dealings, we must ensure that we are straightforward, we are honest, and we avoid any action that will result into producing a financial statement that will mislead the users of the financial statements. So that is the first thing, integrity. So be honest to the shareholders, be honest to the users of the financial statement. But most importantly, you got to be honest to the regulatory authorities. Like, for instance, again, now audit firms are supposed to prepare reports to the regulator, for instance, if they are auditing, say, a financial institution. So if, let's say, you are an auditor, you audit a financial institution, you present your a report to the Bank of Ghana, and you tell Bank of Ghana that, oh, everything is fine about this financial institution, but you know that if the bank is using depositors' fund to finance other activities that are not in line with their operations, or they are lending money to the shareholders of the company without any interest payment. But then you submitted to the regulatory authority that, oh, everything is okay, the accounts are kept right, da 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 da. What are you doing? You are misleading the regulator. And when you are caught, you could be jailed, you could be fined, or your license could be seized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. That is the first thing, integrity. Like I said, it is not about your ability to just understand what integrity means. It is about knowing how to connect it with the scenario, with the transaction, and fish it out from the case that the examiner will present you with. Second thing is objectivity. Objectivity. When we say objectivity, what exactly do we mean? What exactly do we mean when we talk about objectivity? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. One of the things you must understand is that as professional accountants, we're going to be exercising professional judgments. We're going to be exercising professional judgments on the financial statement preparation. We're going to be exercising professional judgment on the accounting policies and accounting basis. We're going to be exercising professional judgment on the materiality of item or not. We're going to be exercising professional judgment on the kind of procedure we should undertake as auditors. So when we are carrying out our duties, we are going to be exercising professional judgments. Objectivity simply means that when exercising these professional judgments, the professional accountant must not allow bias, conflict of interest. So objectivity simply means not to allow conflict of interest, undue influence, or bias to affect professional judgments. To affect professional judgments. That's what we mean by objectivity. That's what we mean by objectivity. As a professional accountant, you must ensure that as you exercise professional judgment on the materiality of an item, on the method of depreciation to use, on the provision for bad debts to be made, on the audit procedure to be selected, well, as you exercise those judgments, you must ensure that you don't allow bias and conflict of interest to impact on that. So let me give you another scenario. Let's say, still back to my loan scenario, the CEO comes to you and say, hey, listen, you have to ensure that the leases, even though IAS 16 says recognize both current and non-current liabilities, I want you to recognize the lease as a current liability, no non-current liability. Now, if you do this, we will be able to get our salary. Sorry, you'll be able to get salary increments. Okay, you'll be able to get salary increments. In other words, because we will get the loan, the business will improve, so there is increase in salary for you at the end of the day. But if you don't do this, you're going to realize that we have to downsize, and so people will be losing their jobs. So this is what you are presented with. The CEO says, hey, listen, if we don't get this loan, you will not, you may not get any promotion. You will not get more salaries. If we don't get this job, this company, we have to downsize, so there will be loss of jobs. Now, you as the financial accountant of the company, what do? Do you follow what the standard says, or you follow what your CEO is saying? Please note, for the purpose of your exams, at least as a professional accountant, you are supposed to always insist that the right thing be done. Always. Whether you do the right thing and lose your job, we don't care about you. But you have to insist that the right thing is done. So this is what you are presented with. Can you carry the burden if, because of your quote unquote righteousness, people lose their job? Can you carry the burden if the loan was not successful and the company has to downsize? So you realize that the loss of job of your colleagues, of the company filing for bankruptcy and all that, will put on you what is referred to as undue influence. So you're going to be influenced on that, because I mean, you cannot hold it. You may not be able to carry that on your head consciously, because if you stand by the word, you stand by the books, you stand by the standards, then people will lose their job. Can you handle that? 99.9% of you cannot handle that. So what do? You're going to allow undue influence to influence your professional judgment. Then the salary promise that has been given to you, that is your interest. So you realize that now there will be conflict of interest coming in. So when you're preparing the financial statement, you are not thinking about the IASs, you're not thinking about the IFRSs, you are thinking about your increment in salary. Probably you can buy a gift from you for your wife or your girlfriend on Valentine's Day, or probably you can get more salary and buy a better car or go build your house or buy a land. So you realize that now you are thinking about you instead of thinking about the right thing being done. That is what we mean by objectivity. In exercising professional judgment, in the presentation of financial statements, in the preparation of financial statements, in carrying out audit procedures, the auditor must ensure, the professional accountant must ensure that no conflict of interest, undue influence, or bias is affecting that professional judgment. I hope you're getting the picture so far. Let me know if there are any questions. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up if you are getting some values already on the video. And also put in the comment section for those of you on YouTube, sorry, Facebook, any questions for me. If you're on YouTube, put in the chat. I want to hear from you. Let me know any questions you have for me. Put it in the chat. What topics would you want us to cover on the channel? I want to hear from you guys as we continue with our discussion. And we are looking at ethical issues for professional accountants, one of the ethical dilemmas that we need to adhere to. And if you're doing management accounting, corporate reporting, advanced audit and assurance, financial reporting, advanced taxation, this lecture is critical for you. And you must make sure you understand this pretty well as you go into the exam, because it's a done deal area. There is a question waiting for us. So that is the second thing. So integrity, be honest, be straightforward, and avoid misleading the users of the financial statement. Objectivity, when you are exercising your professional judgment, do not allow conflict of interest, undue influence, or bias to affect these these professional judgments that you make at the end of the day. Then we come to the third one, and that is going to be professional competence and due care. Professional competence and due care. Professional competence and due care. Now, if you realize closely, you will see that there are two things actually here. We have what we call professional competence, and then we have what we call due care. Professional competence and then due care. So let's take them one after the other and share some thoughts on them real quick. Let's talk first about professional competence or competence. When we say somebody is competent, what do we mean? We mean that the person is capable, the person is qualified, the person is able to do their jobs very well, and the person is able to carry out the work as per the requisite skills that is required at the end of the day. That is the idea in relation to that. So, professional competence. So, it simply means that the professional accountant must possess the requisite skills. So, it means having the requisite skills, expertise, or knowledge for an engagement. You need to be competent. In other words, if you don't have the expertise for a job, please don't do it. Okay, if you don't qualify for it, please don't do it. Now, if you're in ICA level 3, ACCA level 3, you can't walk around and call yourself, I'm an auditor. No, no, no. Even though you work in an audit firm, you are not an auditor, right? Because, I mean, you cannot authorize financial statements. You cannot issue an auditor's report. You cannot sign an auditor's report because you've not been licensed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants to do that yet. Right? So you competent. You must have the skills, you must have the expertise, you must have the knowledge for the engagements that you are supposed to undertake. But the question we ask ourselves is, where the heck do we get competence? How do we become competent? The first one is through education. Now, that is what you're doing now, writing the ICAG, the ACCA examination, or the ICA and ICAN examination or whatever it is, that is education. So that is why you are going through this course. That is why you are going through this program. That is why you are preparing yourself to write your exams. You are getting competent. You are understanding the skills. You are understanding the expertise. You are gathering the knowledge on how financial statements can be prepared, how can financial statement can be audited, and how budgets can be undertaken, and all that. So you are being educated. Not only that, if you charter, after you charter, there is what is called the CPD, continuous professional development. And the Institute of Chartered Accountants has it, the ACCA has it, the ICAN has it. It is a second layer that you continue to learn, because there are changes occurring and there are new standards that are being issued. There are laws that are being passed, and you must be mindful of the new development. So you're going to be doing continuous professional development to make you competent enough. So if you charter, it doesn't end there. You must continue you must continue to learn. Then that will be through continuous professional development. Not only that, you must be somebody who stay up to date with current information and current development. Current information and current development. Now, this has to do with becoming a subscriber of maybe an international business newspaper, like the Business and Finance Times, like Bloomberg, like whatever, any other international business newspaper or news portal. You sign up, and then you're able to know. Also knowing about the current development, like for instance, how, if you're a business, if you're an accountant of a business, or you're the management accountant of a business, how does this e-levy brouhaha going on in this country, how does this have an impact on your business? How does it change the way you are supposed to prepare financial statements? What is the impact on it on your organization? As a professional, you must understand this, because it has an impact. It has an impact, because when the e-levy is passed, what is going to be happening is that it's likely that for a period, sales are going to go down. Now, if sales are going to go down, then management of organizations are likely to overstate their revenue in order to keep up. So as an auditor, one of the risks of material misstatement that you must have in your mind as you start to audit a company due to the passage of the e-levy is because of the fact that it could result into material misstatement in the financial statement, or revenue will be recognized in a certain way. So that is the first thing. You must have the competent, the knowledge, the skills, the expertise for an engagement. That is the first thing we do. But the fact that you have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise for something does not mean you can do it. So the second part of the third code of ethics that we must adhere to is what we refer to as due care. Due care. Now, due care is being professional. Due care is doing the work in a manner that is expected to be done. The reason why due care is important is for us to avoid what is called professional negligence. So due care is the next thing. So it refers to the performance of engagements. It refers to the performance of engagements. It refers to the performance of engagements in accordance with the expected requirements under usual circumstances. So if everything is perfect, if everything is the way it is, how are you supposed to carry out the work? That is called due care. So due care means following procedures. Due care means undertaking work as it is expected to be done. The purpose of due care is to ensure that we carry out a quality engagement. So if we are auditing, we carry out a quality audit. If we are preparing financial statement, we ensure that the financial statement prepared are not misleading. If we are carrying out the due diligence, we make sure that we carry out the due diligence in the manner that is required. If we are accepting an engagement, we make sure we follow the due processes. Why is due key is important? It is to avoid professional negligence. It is to avoid professional negligence. That is why we need due care. We want to avoid professional negligence. Why is that important? Because if you don't adhere to due care, you are not professional, you don't carry out professional um, quality engagement, it could result into professional liability. Could result into professional liability. And the advanced audit and assurance students, professional liability is one of the topics that you need to know about as auditors at the end of the day. Because if you don't carry out the work well and people rely on your financial statement and make certain decisions, you could be liable for it. You could be liable for it. So that is what we mean by due care. Carrying out the work in a manner that is expected to be carried out as per the general principles at the end of the day. Now, there was a story around last year about the 37 military hospital. Now, it is not in the accountancy field, but I'm going to just use it to explain what these issues mean. And I may not give you the facts of the case well, but I'm just going to paraphrase and then just give you the key issues that are there. So there was a case, a court case where a family sued the 37 military hospitals and some doctors who performed or who were supposed to deliver a woman who was pregnant. Now, so what happens was that the doctors were qualified. I mean, they were competent. I mean, this is their field, it is their job, da 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 da. But they did not follow due care. They were not professional. They were professionally negligent. What happened was that the woman wouldn't have been able to give birth naturally, and so there has to be I don't know the name. I think I was told, but I've forgotten. I think she has to be cut open, cessation or so, something like that, that it is called. So she has to be cut open. But the doctors insisted they didn't cut her open. And so they insisted and she gave birth naturally. Now, after giving birth naturally, I think she died and then the baby survived. I think so. So what happened was that the family then sued the 37 military hospital and the doctors. And it happens that the courts gave the judgment that the 37 military hospital should pay the family, I think, 1,075,000 Ghana cedis for professional negligence. Were they qualified? Yes. Professionally, they were competent. But did they follow due processes? No. And the court found out that the time that they were informed that the woman cannot give birth naturally and that she has to be cut open, they could have done it, because under the usual circumstance, it could have been done. But the doctors alleged that they couldn't do it. And so the court found them guilty, and that fine was given to the family at the end of the day. That is what we mean by professional competence and due care. You can have the expertise, you can have the skills, you can have the knowledge, but if you don't carry out the work in a manner that is expected of you, you will be professionally negligent. And if you are professionally negligent, you could be liable at the end of the day. You could be liable at the end of the day. So that is a third fundamental code of ethics that professional accountants must adhere to. That professional accountant must adhere to. So number one, integrity. Be honest, be straightforward in all professional dealings, and make sure that you avoid producing, presenting misleading financial statements to users. Number two, objectivity. You are going to be exercising a lot of professional judgment. Whilst exercising these professional judgments as a professional accountant, ensure that you don't allow bias, conflict of interest, and undue influence to affect these judgments that you are going to be making as a professional accountant. Then number three, professional competence. Have the requisite skills that we need for an engagement, and also ensure that you carry out the work in a manner that is supposed to be carried out. Of all these, my favorite is the fourth one, and that is confidentiality. 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 So, what is confidentiality? What is confidentiality? I see some questions coming in. Let's see if I can uh, address them real quick as we continue with our discussion. So let's see if I can look at the questions real quick. I don't know. Let's see. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat for me for those of you watching on YouTube, and then put it in the comment section for those of you who are watching us on Facebook. If you are listening to the audio also, you can leave us a review on any platform you are on, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Pocket Casts. You can listen to all these lectures there. Asari Gideon said, "Good evening, sir. Good evening, Asari. Thanks for joining us." Adonko Richmond said, "Good evening, sir. Good evening, Adonko. I hope you're doing well." Hi, Premium. Thanks for the good work. Your mentorship programs helped me pass 4 papers at a go. Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations, Kennedy Onyango. That's really great to hear that you passed 4 papers at a go like that. That is awesome. Congratulations and wishing you all the best as you continue with your studies. Advanced financial reporting, auditing and assurance, public sector accounting, and business policy and strategy. Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure. Really, really excited to hear that. These are some of the stories that encourage us to keep going. I need your assistance. I need your assistance in advanced financial management in order to complete my CPA course. Okay. So you can send us hi on WhatsApp, and whatever be the case, details will be sent to you. 05011499296. You can see the number below the screen, and you can send us hi on that, and let's see what we can do to assist you. Max Abugri said, "Hi, Nhyira. This is Don Zoya. Please, can you do something on IFRS 2 and IAS 19 for us? I'm struggling to grasp them. Thanks and God bless you." Okay, Don Zayo. Yeah, I think it's one of the standards that you guys have requested for, and we will see how we can make time to cover that on the channel. So maybe stay tuned in that case. Alternatively, also you can enroll in our online courses because all these standards are covered fully on our online study portal. If you enroll in our full courses online, you'll be able to get access to all the standards with practice questions, with our question kits. Then you'll be able to also join our live sessions as well. So maybe it may delay, but we will try and cover it as soon as possible. But if it delays, then probably enrolling in the full course online will be a good alternative for you. Bushiru Shani said, "Hi, hello, Bushiru. Thanks for joining us. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video. We are covering ethics. Then the last one I have here is Isaac Kumsin. He said, Nhyira, you are a blessing to the profession and the country. Great job and keep it up. Thank you very much. Before now, it was simply impossible to get online materials for any Ghanaian programs. Thanks, really. It's always a pleasure, Isaac Comson, and thanks very much for such kind words for us this afternoon. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go. Confidentiality. Confidentiality. So, what is confidentiality? As the name suggests, it means confidential. All right. So, as a professional accountant, you got to zip your lips. Like I say always to my students, I'm like, you need to zip your lips. In other words, if you have okra mouth, you are like, oh, maybe I can't keep things. So maybe I'm someone who doesn't keep things. So if it is there, I have to say it because if I say it, I can't be free. Oh. Maybe I'm someone who says the truth and stand. Hey, 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 hey. Please don't bring yourself here. In the profession, there has to be some level of confidentiality. Why is that? Because as a professional accountant, you're going to come into possession with essential information about a client entity. Or even the company you work in, you're going to know the salary of the CEO, the salary of the board chairman, the salary of the CFO of the company, their bonuses, their incentives, and all that. Confidentiality means not disclosing these information to third parties without prior permission. Confidentiality means keeping quiet and not speaking, not without being invited. That is confidentiality. So that is the thing. So it means that. So it means the professional accountants must not disclose Must not disclose essential information. Must not disclose essential information. Oh, to third parties without prior knowledge. Sorry, without prior permission from the client entity. So that is what we mean by confidentiality. So this is where the girls, the girls, they talk a lot. So the girls, maybe they are the salon doing their medicure, pedicure, and all the cures that they do. Then they are talking. Hey, do you know? You don't know, Mr. Nhyira, Mr. Kukurentumi. The man's salary. Do you know that every week, as per his salary structure, he's giving then $10,000 just to go and spend in Dubai and come back as his holiday package? Hey, madam, why are you talking like that? Or the boys, Saturday they are eating, or Sunday they are eating omuto and some drinking some things that they are not supposed to be drinking, but they will drink it anyway, drinking something, and after taking some few bottles, they start spewing garbage out. Then they start talking, they start saying things. Confidential, you must be quiet. Now, why is this important? Because you see, in the profession and in life, anybody you feel you trust also trust. And that is the beauty of life. Anybody you feel you trust someone else. So probably you are like, oh, I'm saying this to my girls. I mean, we share things together. So I'm saying this to my girls. Or I'm sharing this with my spouse. Or I'm sharing this with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. One of the dumbest things you can do, though. But I'm sharing this with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Before you know it, the thing that you shared with them is now in the public. Who took it to the public? You did. You did. So, as a professional accountant, you must ensure that you zip your lips. You must ensure that you do not disclose information. You must ensure that you conceal information as much as possible, no matter what is going on. No matter what is going on. But does it mean you cannot talk? No, there are exceptions. I know that's where you are coming from. There are exceptions. So let's look at the exceptions. Please, the exceptions is not the one you say in the bar, the one you say at the saloon. The exceptions are the one that you say when the need arises. So be careful here. Number one, where the entity is engaged in some illegal activities. Okay. So where the entity is engaged in illegal activities. Illegal activities. Then you can report it. Now, when we say illegal activities here, we are referring to things like money laundering. We are referring to things like maybe operating with something that they don't have carrying out an operation for which the entity has no license for. But you got to be careful. The fact that you feel something is illegal does not mean you can just get up and talk, because you need to seek legal advice even before talking. And I'm going to expand on that in a moment. Then number two, where the issue is of a public interest. So where the subject matter is of a public interest. Where the subject matter is of a public interest. Now, again, please note that the word public interest is not defined anywhere in the world. For that reason, before you decide whether something is of a public interest, you need a legal advice. You need a legal advice. So, for instance, let me give an example here. I think in the previous week, last month, we are in February now. So during last month, we saw reports coming in about the banking crisis and then some of the default banks at the end of the day. And one of the banks, I may not have details specifically, but one of the banks, I think Capital Bank, had about 62% of their loans given to the shareholders of the company. Okay, about 62% of their loan given to the shareholders of the company. Now, the question he then asks is, what were the auditors doing? Because these are possibly these are some of the causes or some of the reasons why the bank was not able to meet the minimum capital requirements, or the bank was taken up by the Ghana by the Bank of Ghana or by the regulator at the end of the day, because such issues will be of what? Public interest. Then allegedly also there were some banks who were taking depositors' fund to make acquisitions or acquire certain businesses outside of the country. Depositors' money, then you take it outside of the country. Now that is comparable to money laundering, and is also inclusive of illegality. Again, who were the auditors? Who were the accountants? Why couldn't they inform the regulator about this? Under such circumstances, you must come out and talk. You must report to the regulatory authority after seeking legal advice. That is what we mean by public interest. Public interest. Public interest. So if the subject matter is of a public interest, many people's life will be on the line, many people's savings will be on the line, then you have to come out and say it after seeking legal advice to the right person. It's not that you come and say and then you are saying it to anybody else. You got to be careful. Number 3 exception is where the accountant is a witness in a court proceeding. So where the accountant is a witness in a court proceeding, in such case, I mean, you are under oath. So, my lord, I'm the accountant. God bless. I don't even know what they say, but I will say the truth, nothing but the truth. So God bless you, God. God bless you, whatever they say. Then you go away. If you stand in the witness box, you got to say everything. You got to spew out everything. Everything you know about the company, everything you know about the issue. Under that circumstance, you don't need management's permission. You don't need the entity's permission. You say it the way it has to be said. Then the last one I want to share with you is if the professional accountant is defending himself before a regulatory authority. Okay. So where the professional accountant is in defense before a regulatory authority. Before a regulatory authority. Then you can say it. You can say it. There is a subject matter up. We don't know what the details are. So the ICAG calls you, or the Bank of Ghana calls you, or the Ghana Revenue Authority calls you. When you go there, you speak it. You say it. Because if you screw up there, you are going to jail straight. Or your license will be revoked straight. Okay? That is the idea about that. I realized I didn't spell this well. Regulatory authority. So before a regulatory authority, you say it. So these are some of the exceptions on confidentiality. So please, in the scenario, you have to talk about confidentiality. If someone is telling people or somebody else what they are not supposed to be told, then you are breaching confidentiality. Like I said, as a professional accountant, you must be secretive, because whoever you trust someone else. And not only, I say this to my students always, this thing is not only about the professionalism, but in life in general, it's not everybody you can talk to about certain issues. Because, like I said, the person you claim you trust, the person you claim is your best friend, the person you claim that is your man oh man, something could happen. And the person will no longer become your man oh man. And before you know it, everything you told them will now be used against you, either as a blackmail or as a way to damage your reputation and destroy your life. So you have to be careful. Not everything must be said. Whether you are in the bar drinking things, or you're in the saloon pedicuring and medicuring or being massaged, or whether you're in bed, you have to be careful. Because another area where confidentiality is breached a lot is when there is relationship because of money or relationship that leads into romance, because these areas makes professionals begin to spew out things that they are not supposed to spew. But as a professional, make sure you don't disclose things no matter the circumstances. So that is confidentiality. Any questions, please put it in the chat for me. If you're watching us on YouTube, put it in the comment section. If you're watching us on Facebook, if there are any questions, put it there for me. Give us a thumbs up on the video if you're getting some value. Samuel S., Somanda Junior, Nana Kwatin, Senior Gideon, Prince Akoto Adepa, Abubakar Sulemana, Emmanuel Elikplim, Labi Benjamin. Thanks very much for the thumbs up and the heart on the video. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So let's look at the last one, and that is going to be professional behavior. Professional behavior. So this is where we try to knit all of them together. Okay, so let's go back. Be honest, integrity. Your judgment should not be clouded with conflict of interest, undue influence, and bias. Objectivity. Qualify, have the skills necessary for the job, and then have some level of due care at the end of the day, but ensure that you don't speak anyhow, anywhere, no matter the circumstances you are in. So confidentiality. But the last one is professional behavior. So professional behavior actually brings home all of the code of ethics. Okay, it brings home all of the code of ethics. It means that the professional accountant must not involve or be engaged in any transaction or activity that will bring discredit or disrepute to the accountancy profession. Okay, so it means the accountant, I think let me put it on the next line. It means the accountant must not be involved in any transaction and or activities that brings discredit or that discredits or damage the reputation of the profession. You cannot do anything that brings shame. So, like for instance, when the banking crisis came, I was one of the people who were asking, who the heck were the auditors? Okay, which audit firm were auditing these banks? Because some of the things that came out was certain banks were having deferred tax assets for which they were not supported calculations. How can you have deferred tax asset as per IAS 12 on the face of the financial statement in your financial statement saying that you have a deferred tax asset, but there are no supported calculations? But allegedly, these accounts, auditors had issued unqualified auditor's opinion. How? Why? So that was why the Institute of Chartered Accountants had to find some of the accountancy firms and the accountants involved in the defunct or the collapse of some of these organizations and some of these institutions. That is called professional behavior, because probably, allegedly, maybe somebody took bribe, somebody took some money, somebody was treated well, somebody was given some gifts. That is what we mean by professional behavior. So let's say, for instance, you are the auditor of an organization, then you come in there and the CEO says, "Oh, I just returned from Dubai, and so I saw you are a very beautiful woman, you are a very hardworking woman, and he gets you a Beckons bag." Now, a Beckons bag can range from whatever $15,000, depending on what kind of Beckons bag you're getting, up into somewhere around $50,000 and over. Some are even up to the hundred of thousands of dollars in that case. Then he gives you that back. You are the auditor. The CEO has given you that back. Then he gets up and he say, "Oh, my God is faithful. This year I am blessed." Please, it is not a blessing. This is the devil speaking to you. You see, there are certain things, they are not blessings. So you have to be careful. They're like, "Oh, God has blessed me. My God is alive." No, no, no. God is not alive. This one, God doesn't know anything about it. Why is that? Because the gift that you are taking is material and could affect your work. Because when now you see something and you need to approach the CEO about it, you need to talk to the CEO about it, you need to correct it, or you need to bring it to your auditor's report, or let the regulator know about it, you may be quiet. Why? Because now you have created some bond, some relationship due to the materiality of the gift that has been presented to you. So in such cases, what do you do? Two options. You decline the gift. You decline, you say that, "Oh, sir, I really appreciate the effort, but I'm sorry, I cannot take this gift." Or there are some scenarios where you still take the gift, but then you send it to your office so that your engagement partner looks at it, and then you may be removed from the engagement, and probably the gift will be returned back to the firm. As a professional accountant, gifts and hospitality you have to be careful about, because that is where you can be trapped a lot to misbehave. Like I said, don't come and say, so maybe you are auditing, and the company, when people come to work for the company, they take them to whatever, let's say a 2-star hotel. Then for you alone, you and your audit team, when you came for audit, they took you to a 5-star hotel. Then here you are, snapping Instagram, doing Snapchat, and singing, and you're like, "Oh, look at me, I've arrived. I'm a chartered accountant. God is faithful." Please, 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 please. That could impact on your professional judgment. That could affect your behavior. That could make you to behave in a manner that you are not expected to behave. So bribery, gift and hospitality, low bailing, and all that could affect your behavior, and it could dent the image of the profession. So you have to make sure that as a professional accountant, you are not involved in any transaction or any behavior, any activity that brings discredit or disrepute to the profession. These are what we refer to as the code of ethics that professional accountants must adhere to in their work. Any questions, please? Any questions? I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video if you're getting some value. And then put in the comment section for me on Facebook any questions you have for me. And for those of you watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up on the video. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. YouTube, give us a thumbs up on the video. Let's get more people coming in. Share the video. Let us reach many students coming in that case. So these are the fundamental code of ethics. This is how we are supposed to behave. But why can't people behave this way? Why can't people be confidential? Why can't people be quiet, zip their lips? Why is it that people cannot carry out the work in a manner that they are expected to carry it out? Why can't people be objective in their judgment? Why is it that people cannot be honest and straightforward in their activities? The reasons why people cannot adhere to the code of ethics, or the circumstances, the events that makes people not to adhere to the code of ethics, are what we refer to as threats to the code of ethics. And that's the next thing we want to look at. Threats to the code of ethics. Why can't people adhere to the code of ethics? So sometimes I exemplify this with the 10 commandments. If for those of you who are Christians, the 10 commandments. Okay, so do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not do this, do not do that, do not do this, do not do that. These are the 10 commandments. Okay, so why can't people adhere to it? Because I mean, situation happen. So don't steal, but I'm hungry. I can't get money from anywhere. So what do? You steal. Do not take what doesn't belong to you, but you are hungry. What do? You take it. So the same thing happens to the code of ethics. There are certain events, certain circumstances, certain situation which when the auditor is put into makes the auditor not to adhere to this code of ethics. And these are what we refer to as what? The threats to the code of ethics. Any questions, please? I see some comments coming in. Let's see if I can look at them real quick. Let's see if I can look at them real quick as we continue with our discussion here. Remember, you can download our mobile application as well on the App Store for iOS users. I mean, those of you who are on iPhone, you can download it there. Then for those of you who are using Android also, you can download the Nhyira Premium application. In the application, you get access to blog posts, some free videos that are exclusive here, and some content also that will help you to pass your examination. So you can download the mobile application and start learning as well under my mentorship through the mobile application. Timothy A has said, what we got? Good evening, Nhyira. In fact, I have been blessed by your lectures, both academically and business wise. I went for some interview and they asked me about code of ethics and basis of measurement and approaches, and I could hear you speaking to me live and just re-saying it. And after that, the panelists were impressed, and I was like, "This is the right man for the job." Wow, that's awesome, Timothy. Congratulations on that one. So you have to come and pay dues. You have to come and pay tithes for the job that you got for, so that we will use that. Just kidding. That's a joke. Prince Jehu gives us a thumbs up on the in the chat there. Nana Kweku said something. Nana Kweku said, please, I downloaded the app, but I was not able to log in. Yeah, if you download the app, you have to sign up. Okay, it's a mobile application. So when you download it, you will see sign in, but below there you will see sign up also. So if you're new to our platform, then you have to sign up with your email, password, your name. Then you can begin to access it. Okay, so Nana Kweku, you can if you have downloaded it, just check your screen. Let me see. I don't know if I can access it on my iPad. Okay, so this is it. I don't know if you can see it on my iPad here. So I'm trying to open the app on my iPad. I'm already logging, so let me log out for you to see. Okay. Let me see if. Okay, so this is it. So Nana Kweku, this is it. So you see that there is sign up below. Can you see sign up below? So there's sign up there. So when you click on the sign up, you put in your name, your email address, the password you want to use, and your mobile number. Then you click on the join, and you'll be able to start using the application. Okay. So if you download it, you sign up to be able to start using it. Samuel Samanda said, what is the name of the app? It's Nhyira Premium. Just the same name on Facebook or YouTube channel. It's called Nhyira Premium. So when you just go to the Google Store, type Nhyira Premium, you see the application coming up there with our logo. If you're familiar with our logo, I mean, this is our logo. You see the logo right there on the application. If you're on the App Store also for my iPhone users, iPad users, you'll be able to also download it there. Okay, you are welcome. Abena Asante said, thank you. You are making the topics easier and practicable. Wow, that's great to hear, Abena. Thanks very much for that one there. Okay, so that's it about that. Any other questions, please? Drop them in the comments. Let's see. Samuel said, thanks. You're welcome. So download our mobile application. I mean, there are exclusive blog posts that we post there as well that you can get access to. And if you want to know more about what I do, there are entrepreneurial contents there. There are some personal life stories that I also share on these blogs that you can read that can really get you to know me very well and also gather some knowledge for yourself and be able to become more successful and work on your goals. So get a mobile application or just visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com, and study under my mentorship in that case. Now, for those of you doing public sector and advanced taxation or principle of taxation, we have some copies of our books available that you can get access to. So you can call or WhatsApp us 05011149296. You see the number below your screen, scroll in there. So you can call or WhatsApp us and delivery can be arranged wherever you are at in the country. Public sector accounting and finance, principles of taxation or advanced taxation. You could get those books so that you can study under my mentorship. Now we are in week 5 in our discussion for the ICA April 2022 exam. So if you want to enroll in our courses and study under my mentorship also, you can do that in the mobile application or visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com. The first link in the description of this video, you can click on that and you'll be able to enroll in our course. It's 390 Ghana cedis per paper, and you join us and study under my mentorship. So that is the idea about the code of ethics, the code of ethics. So our next attention is going to be the threats to the code of ethics. What are the threats to the code of ethics? And this is where I'm going to bring everything home. Because in the question that the examiner will give you, you must be able to identify the threats, then you connect it with the code of ethics that is being breached, then you can now take various decisions on what must be done in order to solve it. And I'm going to be concluding around here today because of time constraints. And God willing, tomorrow, we will look at the final part of this discussion. And I hope that for those of you doing advanced audit and assurance, this is 10% or 10 marks. For those of you doing corporate reporting, you could have between 5 to 10. For those of you doing financial reporting, about 5 marks coming in. Management accounting also about 5 marks coming in that particular case. So ethics is very critical, is very basic. And I hope that I will be able to provide you with the blueprints that you need so that if it is 10 marks, you can get 8 over 10. It's possible. If you really understand ethics, it is easy. It's one of the cheapest questions that you can answer in any exam. Once you're able to understand, you're able to understand the concept well, how to link the threads to the code of ethics, how to pick them up from the scenario, you will be able to then answer that question pretty well in that particular case. So that is it about that. Thanks very much for joining the stream today. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Isaac, Idioba, Nick, Kwejo, thank you very much for the thumbs up, and all you guys who share the video and also give us a thumbs up. Join me same time tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. as we look at the final part of Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants as we discuss the threats that we are exposed to, and I'll give you the blueprints that you need to understand on how to answer ethical issues so you can be in a better position to get a majority of the marks going into the examination. So thank you very much. I'll catch you same time tomorrow as we continue with our discussion. Till we meet again, stay safe and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.